All right, you guys, we are back with a new update. And I came across this video. Shout out to Willie D. He has done it again. Let me tell you, it is a clear man. It is a clear man. And these people know their own kind. He's coming out and he got some information to tell. I have yet to look at this because I said, you know what? I want to watch it with you all. I want to react in real time with you all. I want to thank you all for joining in this YouTube channel. I ask you all to make sure you like, share, and subscribe here. I really appreciate you. And I want to know before I start this video, before I bring Willie D up, do you guys believe that BART did it? I mean, we heard the audio call. They said, darn it, Bart. Oh my God, Bart. How could you, Bart? I am tuned to believe from the audio that we heard, the enhanced audio, the right audio, that Bart has a lot to do with Nolan Wales' death. I truly believe that. Press 1 if you believe that Bart has something to do with Nolan's death. Press 7 if you feel like no, Bart is innocent. Now, they say that Bart was a football player too, or still is a football player, and he's supposed to be making it like really prime time, and he's like the city's chosen boy. Like Ocean Springs really love Bart. They all know Bart. They know Bart's family members. So when you are token or when you're the favorite, people will always protect you even when you're wrong. Even if Bart was out here doing horrible things to kids, they would still make an excuse and still protect them. And people have a history of doing this. I mean, there's so many women out here that have been touched, and they've been touched by someone in their family. And the family knows it, but they still protecting this straight man in the family, right? I mean, it happens often even when it becomes from bodies. It's a lot of people in your family that possibly got bodies that are thugs, that are criminals, the gang banging. These people that gang bang, they have mothers, they have fathers, they have family. They know they got bodies, but still they're going to cover them. If the cops come, they're not going to flip on them. So I say all that to say that this is how this town, Ocean Springs, feel about these white boys. They're not going to flip on them. These are their golden boys. So I'm going to bring it up here. It is a lot of, you see the title, Bart did it. Bart did it. This is a white man that's speaking. He know his own. So let's bring this up here and let's see what's going on. I'm assuming this is the white guy video that's going around.
Katie was obviously with Nolan, or had a jealous rage seeing a young black male with a white female. We know in states like Mississippi.
Did you hear that? Oh my God. So it all came down to that damn Katie. And Katie is not at fault here. It's these white men that feel like they own white women. You don't own white women. You don't own nobody. You can't even control and discipline yourself. Why don't y'all start there? Everybody in the world want to control someone else, but they can't even discipline and control their own flesh and blood. Start with controlling yourself, but they can't do that. But yeah, you heard that white man. He said that Bart was jealous. He saw Nolan cozying up to this white girl named Katie. And Warren even told us, Warren said that the black boy Nolan was sparling, Katie, I guess like cuddling her in the arms or something like that. That's how they described it. And they were yelling at him saying, Bart, get on the boat, get on the effing boat. And mind you, Nolan was drunk at this time. They said Nolan was like wasted. So if Bart attacked him while Nolan was wasted, who knows, And Nolan, he's 18 years old. 18, he's not even 19 years old. So his body cannot handle alcohol like Bart body can, because Bart body is a 21-year-old body. And in America, it's the reason why they say when you're 21 years of age, then you're legal to drink. And it's the reason why they say when you're 18, you're not legal to drink because of your body. You're still developing. And 18, 19, 20, 21. I mean, though that's 3 years. I mean, 3 years, that's a big advantage. And, I say that to say Nolan, according to them, was very drunk, and he's an 18-year-old. And that being in his liquor, in his body, he probably cannot really defend himself. He was vulnerable. And people are saying that they also put something in Nolan's drink as well. They put something in those cans. And we had the black officer guy go around and say that Nolan was on sugar boogers. Do you guys remember that? Press one if you guys remember. Brandon Tatum said Nolan was on sugar boogers and somebody was selling it to Nolan. And he know for sure. But then all of a sudden, that story just disappeared. He never talked about it again. I wonder why. I guess because it was another lie. It was another lie.
I see it all the time in my community where white guys get jealous to see black guys with white girls. I've seen it a million times, and people who deny this are flat out.
Did you hear that? White men are jealous of black men. White men are jealous of black men. They're so jealous of black men, they will unalive a black man. They're jealous because black men are more desirable, are way more desirable. It's more white women that desire black men. It's more Asian women that desire a black man. It's more Indian women. Everybody desires a black man. Okay? Okay. So, does everybody desire a white man? Do black women desire a white man like that? Does, you know what I mean? Honey, I don't know. Do everybody desire an Asian man? Who want an Asian man? Okay. Hmm. Who want an Indian man? Huh? Huh? Everybody want a black man. So they're jealous because they cannot compete where they don't compare. They know a black man is physically strong. God made the black man physically stronger, physically bigger, more masculine. Yeah. Yeah. Physically, black men are known to be more masculine. That's how God made them. They can't help it. It's in their genetics. You know? I mean, you can't blame that on black men when they cannot help their genetics. They cannot help how they look. They can't help how God made them. I mean, God blessed them in their manhood, literally, I think take it up to God. Blame God, take it up to God.
I believe what happened was that BART put Nolan in a chokehold, and he didn't realize his own strength, and Nolan did not wake up. Hence the reason why we hear in the background of the CITO call, we hear, "Damn it, Bart, Nolan, wake the fuck up, is he dead?" All this is allegedly now. Well, if he just accidentally killed him, then why wouldn't they bring him to the police? Because Bart has so much to lose. He was the star football player on his way to the NFL. A
Didn't I tell y'all that? And he still want to make it to the NFL. I told y'all that. He has a lot to lose. That's why he's not coming out here doing these interviews. Yeah, Bart don't want his face all out here recognizing for a murder of Nolan Wells. They trying to keep him very, very secret. Yeah, and remember, all these boys look up to Bart. All these boys, they look up to Bart like that's our big brother. And isn't it awkward that Bart is hanging around guys that are 3 years younger than him? That's weird. When I was coming of age, ain't nobody want to hang out with no kids that's younger than you. when I was I mean, in high school, I didn't know anybody that was in a grade below me. I've never hung out with anybody that was in a grade below me. Okay. Okay. No, 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 no. I don't know. Maybe I was just too stuck up in my grade. But after high school, I'm not about to hang out with y'all. But that's just odd that Bart likes to hang around 18-year-olds. And I'm assuming if he likes to hang around 18-year-olds, he probably likes messing around with 15 and 16-year-olds. That's what it gives. Like, you still around high schoolers, you still want to hang out with high schoolers, you still have a crush. How old is Katie? Isn't Katie Nolan's age? Yeah, Bart is weird.
Slaughter charge, whether it's involuntary or voluntary or a negligent homicide, is not going to look well on his resume and would obviously disqualify him from his NFL career. Because of his football stardom, and apparently he has a family with the same pedigree, he has clout around town enough to get people to remain silent, enough to help construct an alibi, and also put the fear of God in these kids. Tell them that you're also going to be implicated in this, and we're all going to go down. We're all going to be arrested. Also, why they tried to place Bart not at the scene initially. Now, they went on a speaking tour. Warren did the most talking, and listening to him talk with Officer Tatum, he almost did too much talking and told on the crew. Warren says that when they got the boat back, that he went upstairs to talk to the father of one of the kids rather than hanging out with everybody downstairs. He says that they were talking about boats up there. Now, why would you even bring this up? Like, why would this even be a part of the story if it was such an innocuous thing that you were just going upstairs to randomly talk to a father about boats? The reality is because they weren't talking about boats. They were constructing an alibi and a cover story. And when they came downstairs, it was automatically like, oh, what happened to Nolan? Where is Nolan? Has anybody seen Nolan? Let's call the Coast Guard. Why would they call CITO? Why would they call the Coast Guard? Because it creates a timeline, it creates like a paper trail of where they could have been anywhere but with Nolan. Also, why would you call the Coast Guard if you truly believe that Nolan just was behind with the girl Katie? Even if Katie had came back at that point, why wouldn't you think he's off with some other girl or doing something else? Why would you think something nefarious happened? Why? Because you had his phone and you knew that something nefarious happened. Again, this is allegedly.
He's absolutely right. Allegedly, my ass. Honey, this white man is telling the truth. I've always felt this way. He's absolutely right. What do you guys think about this?
That smoked him out. What doesn't come out in a wash always comes out in a rinse.
All right, there go Willie D with the clapping. But yeah, this is what a lot of people are speaking about. They're talking about that. And I just want to know, what do you guys think about this? Do you guys agree with this white guy? Press 7 if you guys agree with him. Press 9 if you don't. I'm going to look in the comments. It says, so maybe Bart was taught his Brazilian chokehold. The arm goes under the neck area, which may explain the red bruises in the back of Nolan's head. That's exactly right. Yeah, they was yelling at Nolan, get your drunk ass on the boat, right? And Bart was already upset because he was over there with Katie, and Bart had a thing for Katie, and Bart probably feel like no black man should be with no white woman, because they're jealous. The white guy just told us that these white boys are jealous when they see black man with a white woman, because they feel like white women are their property. So when he got on that boat all drunk, Bart decided he was going to rough his ass up. And he took it too far, and he ended up unaliving Nolan. And that's why people are so in shock. So now, after he did that allegedly, they're like, okay, how are we going to cover this up? Because they cannot lose Bart too. Bart is too much valuable. Bart is one of them. They live life like a gang. Think about gang activity and gang life. If you're part of the Crips and the Bloods, and one of the Crips or one of the Bloods unalive someone, Do you think the Bloods are going to report it and tell the cops, hey, one of my blood family members decided to play around and they unalive this person? Or do you think the Bloods and the Crips are going to try to cover it up and get away with murder? Press one if they're going to try to cover it up and get away with murder. Press seven if you feel like they're going to be honest and tell and be so forthcoming. Newsflash. The reason why I said gangs, because that's how some of y'all can get it. These white people are the same as the gangs. Hell, these white people are worse than the damn gangs, okay? Because it's systematic. They're in politics, okay? And they have a family of lineage, okay? Ooh, they have a family, that's inside politics, that's inside the government, that's inside the DA examiner, that's inside the police. Crips and Bloods, they're just street territory. But even though they do say some gang members are affiliated with politics, but usually the gang members are just like pawns. But when we go into these white boys, their parents and their ancestors are like the kings and the queens on the board. So they have more power, more push to get away with a murder. Okay. So yeah, they're covering this up big time. They are in their own gang, like the KKK. Wasn't that very gang oriented? And they all have their different groups. The Proud Boys is a gang. The mega Trump people, that's a gang. They all have their agenda that they're pushing. So, honey, all right. It says this man had a video and said white men have had enough and are going to attack any mixed couples, especially black men with white women. Well, that is just so sad that these white men are so hateful in their heart that they feel like they need to put a physical harm. The white woman's still not going to want you. Nobody wants you. Okay, you need to go figure out why so many white men are depressed and leaving this earth. Okay, you need to go figure that out. You know, you worried about the wrong thing. She don't even want you. And have you ever just thought about it? Maybe she doesn't want you because your anger problems and how you so entitled and the way you carry yourself. You know, I tell you. Mm-mm-mm. Political use their members as security. Uh-huh. Hey Gigi, I'm late. I'm trying to cast my TV. Hey babe, I'm sorry you late. You need to get your butt up in here. You know I don't be playing around. Okay, I'm tired of y'all disrespecting me being late on my show. Y'all don't be late on everybody else's show, but you want to play with me? Okay. Yeah. So anything else y'all want to say? Any other comment I need to read and you want my thoughts on it? Make sure you put them in the chat. So if you guys missed it, a white man came forward and this is one of Bart's people. And Bart own people said they believe allegedly that Bart did it. That he unalived Nolan Wales. And this white man that is one of Bart's people have no reason to lie. He said he's tired of holding it in and he's ready for the truth to be told. He said that he prayed about this and he felt convicted in his spirit and God told him to let it go and tell the truth. Okay. And he was getting his reward in heaven. So he decided to be obedient to God's word and to be honest because he know if he held on to this, he would be disobeying God's laws. He would be being so disobedient and being a liar. So he came forward and he said that he allegedly Bart did it. He said he can't say it without allegedly because of lawsuits. And you guys know they got Donald Trump ex-lawyer to go around here and frighten people, to silence people with these lawsuits and things. But he came out here and everybody's talking about it. And I just wanted to know, can you play it again? Okay, I'll play it again, honey. Y'all need to get here on time. Okay. Oh, okay. I need y'all to be on time. I got it from Willie D. Now you know Willie D, he get all the stuff,
Now, this is allegedly, but I believe that Bart did it. I believe that Bart had some type of relationship with Katie. Katie was obviously with Nolan. Bart had a jealous rage seeing a young black male with a white female. We know in states like Mississippi, I see it all the time in my community, where white guys get jealous to see black guys with white girls. I've seen it a million times, and people who deny this are flat out lying. I believe what happened was that Bart put Nolan in a chokehold, and he didn't realize his own strength, and Nolan did not wake up. Hence the reason why we hear in the background of the CITO call, we hear, "Damn it, Bart, Nolan, wake the fuck up. Is he dead?" All this is allegedly now. Well, if
No, ain't nothing allegedly. I heard that with my own ears. But you know, the white man got to say that because now, do y'all know they are threatening this white man? They are sending him messages, threatening him, calling him a traitor because he was honest and he spoke the truth. Do you know that that's what they're doing to him? Just like they did to Nancy Grace. And people ask me, am I going to open the phone line? Guess what? The phone lines are open now. So feel free to hit this link, come up here and talk to me about this case. All right. Now, V Morgan, you asked if the phone lines are open. I open it up, baby. So come on, call in. Okay.
this accidentally killed him, then why wouldn't they bring him to the police? Because Bart has so much to lose. He was the star football player on his way to the NFL. A manslaughter charge, whether it's involuntary or voluntary or a negligent homicide, is not going to look well on his resume and would obviously disqualify him from his NFL career. Because of his football stardom, and apparently he has a family with the same pedigree, he has clout around town enough to get people to remain silent, enough to help construct an alibi, and also put the fear of God in these kids. Tell them that you're also going to be implicated in this, and we're all going to go down. We're all going to be arrested. Also, why they tried to place Bart not at the scene initially. Now, they went on a speaking tour. Warren did the most talking, and listening to him talk with Officer Tatum, he almost did too much talking and told on the crew. Warren says that when they got the boat back, that he went upstairs to talk to the father of one of the kids rather than hanging out with everybody downstairs. He says that they were talking about boats up there. Now, why would you even bring this up? Like, why would this even be a part of the story if it was such an innocuous thing that you were just going upstairs to randomly talk to a father about boats? The reality is because they weren't talking about boats. They were constructing an alibi and a cover story. And when they came downstairs, it was automatically like, oh, what happened to Nolan? Where is Nolan? Has anybody seen Nolan? Let's call the Coast Guard. Why would they call CITO? Why would they call the Coast Guard? Because it creates a timeline. It creates like a paper trail of where they could have been anywhere but with Nolan. Also, why would you call the Coast Guard if you truly believe that Nolan just was behind with the girl Katie? Even if Katie had came back at that point, why wouldn't you think he's off with some other girl or doing something else? Why would you think something nefarious happened? Why? Because you had his phone and you knew that something nefarious happened. Again, this is allegedly. Let's smoke them out. What doesn't come out in a wash always comes out in a rinse.
Woo! All right. Now, Vaughn, I would love to bring you up here, but it says something about your connection is not good. So feel free to come up here. I'm going to wait for you for a second. So for those of you that just saw that video of Bart's people, what are your thoughts? Do you believe him? If you don't believe him, let me know why. It says Vaughn enter, add to stage. I would love to add Vaughn to stage, but it says devices not connected. It says right here, Vaughn, that your device is not connected. They will need to connect to their mic before you add them. So your mic or your cam is not connected, Vaughn. You got to plug that cam or that mic up, make sure that it's on. All right. So I really wanted to hear from you, Vaughn, but you got to make sure that thing is on, baby. Oh, but every day something else comes up, right? Every single day, but we're going to have to keep on working till we get to the bottom of this. I wonder, what do you guys think Bart is thinking about right now? Bart is just praying and hoping that this will blow over. Bart is trying to distract himself with football. Bart is trying to probably drinking himself crazy. Bart is probably upset. But if Bart don't got nothing to hide, Bart should just come out here and say, I'm Bart, I don't got nothing to hide. X, Y, and Z. Let me tell you what's going on with that audio and just break it on down. But he's not going to do that because he knows if he bring his face out here, man, and it's a wrap for him and the boys. They don't want Bart to talk, possibly, because they know if Bart start talking, man, everything is just gonna unravel. Okay, and it's a lot at stake at this. This is why they have to cling together so tightly, because if one unravel, then hell, the whole thing gonna unravel. But they're like a gang. They're not going to depart. I mean, do you think of Bloods are going to depart? Crips? No, and then the police are not pressuring them. The only people that is pressing them is people on social media. And all they have to do is click off social media and bam, they're in a whole different world. But they're not bombarded by the police or being questioned. Like they're not even taking a polygraph, you know? So they just waiting for this to blow over. They're gonna use time as a weapon and they're just waiting for this to blow over. In the meantime, they decided, hey, let's make ourselves a victim and let's go after Nolan Wales' mom. So that's what they've been doing lately. So constantly talk about this. I know I've been putting a Facebook post up and I get a lot of hate. I get a lot of white people saying a lot of the R word to me and stuff like that. I don't let it get to me. I don't know why, but it doesn't bother me like I think it should bother me, but it don't bother me. I just laugh at it, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna get on out of here and I'll see you guys on the next go round. All right, Sherry. Okay, hold on. How you doing, Sherry?
Hey,
It's been so long. I'm glad you caught me. Can
I
you
know. Can you hear me?
yeah, can you turn the audio down or your back?
Yeah, I just turned it off. How's it? Is it better now?
It's so much better. So
Okay, beautiful,
do you
beautiful.
believe the white guy?
Yes, remember our very first when this first happened. Remember I came on your show. It was late at night, and I
Yes.
told I told you this. Remember I said I felt that he. Remember I said I had a gift. I said I feel that Nolan died on the boat. And
Yes.
remember, I mentioned that they took him to the house or something about the bayou, but I didn't know which bayou. I just had a feeling.
Hmm.
And then other stuff started coming out. The biggest mistake these kids made was being so bold as to be vain enough to go on, live TV with Tatum and talk because they started getting cocky with it, and the truth started spilling out.
Yes.
Especially, I forgot the guy in the middle. I think his name is Tristan. He said,
Uh-huh.
well, if he even said, if Nolan was on the floor and this, that, this, go back, listen to that, the latest, I think it's part two of
Yeah.
Tatum. He mentioned it.
Yeah.
He mentioned something about the boat and if he's on the floor, this, that, and then there was a young lady. I was sending you things, you know, I was sending you little clues. I said,
I
check out
appreciate
Pink.
that.
Remember Panda? I think in the Panda or something. That
Uh-huh.
girl is smart. She brought up that Bart also has a brother that favors him, and they wear the same bracelets. And he was on that latest picture where you could see a hand or a foot coming up. Remember, we were all looking at it. It was on one of your shows. The
Yeah.
video when the new boat that they showed picture. They all had different. Like they changed their clothes.
Mm.
Okay. Also, one of her videos, she had something blown up where it looked like something was on the side on the boat itself. It looked like blood or something. And then when you blew up the area where you saw a hand or a foot, um, someone went and did what do you call it when you go and ask the what do you call it? What the young kids use AI, what
Uh-huh.
could this possibly be? And AI said that it's a hand or a foot. So that
Wow.
was Nolan on the ground. Also, they weren't all standing on the very ground of the boat. Some of them were up higher.
Mm.
And so Nolan was laying there. And
Wow.
then you see Bart's brother, he actually looked down at and when he saw the movement, okay? And so he wasn't gone yet. Maybe it was his body reacting or whatever. But the young lady also mentioned that Bart's brother is heavily into Brazilian wrestling.
Mm.
And she showed this one chokehold where you have someone on the ground and you take one arm where they're incapacitated and then you take the other arm, you wrap it around their neck, and then their arm goes behind your neck
Oh my
and you
God.
squeeze. And I knew
Oh
right
God.
away, I said, that's where the mark came from.
Oh God. Oh my
So
God.
yeah, so they could have taught. You never know. They could have taught each other that move, or but it's like I said, it's Bart, or I can't remember if it was Bart's brother or Warren's brother. I think it was Bart's brother that is into Brazilian wrestling. But you can check back if you want to check into the videos of Pink Panda. She explains everything beautifully, and she shows the actual maneuver. And
Mm.
maybe you can tie that into your next live or your next video. You can tie
Okay.
that into it, because it's important for your viewers to see that just in case they missed it.
That's
You
right.
know,
Uh-huh.
and I'm so glad you picked me first. 'Cause I know I run at the mouth sometimes. I talk too much because I
No,
get so excited. Remember, both of us were not sleeping the first couple of nights. Remember that both of us weren't sleeping.
yeah, but
You
you
know,
never talk too much. Don't
Oh, I
say
don't. Oh, okay. I thought I didn't want to take over because you have such wonderful people that come up to talk to you, and I didn't want to take
oh
over,
honey.
from them
Don't
talking,
you worried about
you know,
nonsense. You
but
talk, you stand on topic. You're not talking
yeah,
about, so as long as you stay on topic.
yeah. And I keep posting. I said everything on your comment page is allegedly, so no one gets in trouble. So I've
Uh-huh.
been doing that too. But this, I've had a strong feeling. I prayed about it, and I believe the good Lord showed me stuff, and that's why I end up talking to you. I remember you were on. I think it was 1 o'clock in the morning where I am. And I stayed up to talk to you and said, I just have a feeling. I know that he ended up on that boat. And
Yeah.
that's where he passed. And then they took his body. And then Panda started showing the bayou and showing where the houses were. She had a map
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, and the grandfather allegedly is involved. And the latest video, it's saying that one of the mothers was actually there, because Warren slipped. His last interview with Tatum, he slipped and said that he called his mother 8 times, and she must have been on the south side of the island. He blew it. He said everything.
Mm, 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 mm.
And no lawyer is going to let them talk that much. I mean, where do they get these lawyers?
From Trump.
You see what I'm saying? They were sitting there all quiet. All of a sudden, they just started spilling the beans, and saying stuff. And one felt so bold as to say, well, if he was laying on the ground, this, that, and the others looked at him, and you could see both the head, all of them look at him like, what is he going to say?
That's right.
You know, and Nancy Grace got him too when she had those two lawyers on there. They could not say that none of them took polygraphs, and they kept avoiding certain questions. And there was one lawyer, I forgot, that was dressed in a suit. He was advertising his business. They had what do you call it, a hat on one side and then liquor bottle on the other side. I'm looking at watching the video. I'm thinking, why does he have that facing the camera? Is he advertising who's supporting him? It was tacky to me, because I actually, years ago, I worked for a law firm. You just don't do that. And when you're on Nancy Grace show, he had a hat on. You don't do that. You take your hat off on the inside and you present yourself professionally, and you don't have smirk on your face because you're dealing with a child. An 18-year-old boy was killed. You had to have respect. And that's just, maybe I'm old school, but I was disgusted by the whole thing.
No, you're right, but I think that you're missing how they're going about it. They are
Yeah,
doing this for entertainment. This is
yeah,
mockery for them. I
yeah.
believe that
But they're
the
sick.
boys are only speaking out because a
They feel they're
political,
going to get away with it.
not just
Yeah,
that, but it's a
yeah,
political power that's over
yeah,
them that want to
Hmm.
use this for politics and is
Yeah.
pushing them to be with Brandon Tatum and pushing them to be with
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z so they can
Yeah.
push their agenda. It's an agenda
Yeah.
behind this movement
Of course.
they're doing.
Well,
So
I believe that it was a lot of people that watched it. I still believe it was a sacrifice, and because like I don't know much about the Klan and all that type of stuff, but it might have been them passing the torch to a younger generation. That was something else that was in my spirit to say. I think I mentioned that earlier.
yeah, but
But I feel,
they want to
and
protect
they
their
know they're going to get away with it. They're going to if they even if they get away with it, the point is the whole world this time is watching. And you have so many people coming out on YouTube and TikTok, white, black, every nationality, all saying the same thing. So it looks bad for them. So I don't know, by the grace of God, maybe somebody will get thrown in jail because of this, but you had the whole world watching. And as far as the ESPN and the other stuff that Bart has all these things, I don't think they're going to touch him because they usually don't get involved with all that mess when you're dealing with the NFL and stuff like that. They don't like any of that stuff because it's bad news unless he passes the buck and let his brother take the rap that he's the one that did it and he was they may start turning on each other. It may be fun and games for them now, but eventually they're going to turn on each other. And so all we can do is sit back and watch.
Mm. Well, I think the only person that's putting pressure on them is the
Yeah.
public. I think that the
Yeah.
police, they know police got their back. They know Donald
Yeah.
Trump got their back.
It's
They know
bad.
the powers that be has their back. So they feel invincible right now.
Yeah, and there was another lynching. I can't remember the name, but it was another lynching that happened in June that we're just learning about. It was a young male.
Well, it's been several.
Yes, and I'm thinking it went up 81%, judging by what I saw, on the news and stuff. But it's a shame because they even had, regular news like CBS, ABC, whoever. No one's really reporting on this because of our government. Everything is tied into everything. So the only way you're going to get news is to look at the TikToks and the YouTube to get the truth of what's going on.
Until they start
You
shutting
know,
that shit down.
yeah, and there's so many crazy stuff going on. Even everyone, I keep telling, if you have young folks, if you're listening to Gigi now, please don't go to Walmart or places without a friend. Don't go anywhere by yourself anymore unless you're packing.
Now, to pivot a little bit, they saying that
Yes.
we boycotting Walmart.
No, I didn't mean, I use that as an example. Sometimes we all shop at different places.
No, but I
You
heard
know.
that black people is
Yeah. Oh, they
boycotting
are?
Walmart.
Okay. See, I wasn't sure if they were still doing it. I know they did it at, what was it, a year or two ago?
They did it at Target, but I think they did it at Walmart too.
Oh,
Press,
okay. Well,
press one of black people boycotting Walmart
yeah, I'd
too.
like to know. That's why I
I
definitely
heard
would like to
about
know.
it. Yeah. Mm-mm.
But in any case, I just want our young people just to be careful, be aware of your surroundings. And on Amazon, they have something, if you don't want to have a gun with you, get that alarm. There's a personal alarm you can attach. Because I remember I had one from ADT. It's very loud. And you would press that alarm and you wouldn't say help, you would say fire. I learned this because I was once married to a cop. And people sometimes don't want to be involved if you're saying help me, but people will respond to fire. They'll run out of a building if you're yelling fire. You see what I'm saying? So these are just little hints to protect you.
Okay.
So just I'm sorry I had to go on the safety side of your show. I don't want to take over that, but I just love us. We're good people, and it's a shame that we don't go out hurting anybody or hunting people and doing all this crazy stuff. I think that is, there's a lot of psychopaths out there.
Yeah.
That we're constantly on their brain when we're not. We're just trying to live like everybody else. Pay our bills, which is sometimes even hard now, and live in the world we live in because things are a little tougher now, you know, and it's a shame. because we can never be left alone and live in peace, you know, but it's the world we live in, so everybody stay prayed up,
That's right.
you know. But it's a shame. But yeah, I believe, I have strong feeling. Like I said, it's all circled around Bart, and also see Nolan when they first started out there showing all the pictures of him. His prom picture. The first thing I noted, all the guys, they were all black young men, and all of their dates were all white girls. And so I think there's resentment there.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, there was an older gentleman, I think he was white supremacy, that made a bold announcement on YouTube and said, they're tired of, of the women, being with black men. Doesn't matter if they chose them. They're not faulting the white women. They're going after the black men.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
it's
because
sad.
they trying to get black men to fear them.
Yes, and it's just so much. It's just so much crazy stuff happening now. It's not even funny. It's just bad.
So how do they feel about Brandon Tatum dating that white woman?
Well, see, they're using him as long as he's complying to them and doing what they want him to do. He's going to continue doing his little act. But the minute if he sees that, if he feels they're guilty, whatever, and let's say he changes sides, they're going to go after his behind. He
Mm,
doesn't know who he's messing with. For
mm.
now, he's like what do they call the black men that he's useful to them now, because he's also tied into that I forgot that agency. What is it called? That the Kirk gentleman was involved in, something USA.
Yeah,
He's tied in. He's tied into that.
turning point.
Yes, he's tied into that. He's part of that. I think he held a position there.
Mm,
So he's going to fight for them. But if he at any point in time changes, he's going to be in trouble because he's been no more useful, and he doesn't see that. And that man has issues. He has issues. I believe somebody in his life hurt him badly.
mm,
Where he turned against his own kind.
mm,
It's a psychological thing. I see it. I see it in him.
mhm.
And it's a shame because a lot of men, depending on their beginnings and how they're brought up and stuff, it can affect them later in life.
Mm.
You know, Not for anyone to feel sorry for him, but you know what? We're people, we're God fearing people, so pray for him because he
Yeah.
has issues. Other people you can call him names and joke and coon and all those other names and stuff, but he has an underlying problem deep down.
Mhm.
And he feels that he fits. And like the latest thing they're doing, like I said, is they're befriending black people and getting their trust. And then at any time they could use you as a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And see with him, if they turn on him, they're going to ruin his career and everything else. And if he escapes with his life, he'll be lucky.
Mm.
But I heard that I forgot the gentleman's name that everyone likes. They said that Sharpton and Crump, maybe they will do, instead of doing the millionaire, maybe what do you call it, Million Man March in Washington, they may do it in Mississippi.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
so I don't know how much that would work. But I hope something happens that will change things.
Yeah.
Because it's a shame. Like if this was how can I say it? If this was reversed and it was black men and a young white gentleman, got killed or whatever, Trump would be all over it. He hasn't made no announcement. He never even said anything, and it's very disrespectful because guess what? We've been citizens here forever. We were here first. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If you think about it. And it's shameful that our own president won't even make an announcement on that because he could basically call off the dogs because guess what? He started all this mess.
Yeah. But
He really did.
He's the ringleader, you know.
Yeah, he started all this mess. And his father, wasn't his father president of the, the K's, I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So how I'm thinking, what is his position with them? You never know. Is he one of the heads too? I have no
Yes, he's
idea.
one of the heads. I don't know,
Yeah,
but I'm for sure he's one of the heads. Hell,
yeah, so
That's why he got elected.
yeah, and he made sure. I mean, even when they got rid of a lot of the Mexicans and stuff for the farming. I mean, I saw a lot of the farmers thought that he was going to get black people to go back and work in the field. There was some videos on that. I saw, well, that'll be a cold day in hell before that happens. We've been there, done that before, and we're not doing it again. And one lady said, I'll die first before I go back.
Mhm.
And it's a shame. But he put a lot of sick things in people's heads, to the point where they crawled out of the woodwork to show how hateful they can be. And it's a shame,
Yeah.
because they really don't even know who they really are. You see, because way back when it was the Romans is the one that separated and called them white and called us black, when actually that whiteness is a part of the brown color. Brown comes in all different colors. If they had melanin in them, guess what? And they came from Adam and Eve, which was black. So they're
Mm.
actually fighting their own people, human beings. The only thing that's a difference in them with us is because they came from Neanderthals. So that could be why they can be very brutal, where we're not.
Mhm.
And that has to do with your genetics and stuff. But I'm not going to get all into that your show tonight.
All
I
right.
mean, let you talk and do your thing, girl. I'm always so proud of you when you come on. I got my
Thank-
husband. My husband never liked YouTube. He's sitting up here now watching everything. He got
Oh,
into it.
I appreciate
He's like, "Oh, is that your girl, Gigi?" I said, "Yeah, she's on." You
Yes.
know, I
I
see, and
gotta
you have a
open my
special place
piano
in my
more.
heart. Yeah,
Okay.
because I had my beloved aunt. Her name, she passed on. She lived to be 101. Her name was Gigi.
Oh, okay.
You
That's
know, so
precious.
so I'm very happy. You're doing a very good job. And see, they want everyone to stop reporting about it, but it's important to keep the pressure on,
That's
because
right.
maybe somebody will confess or say I did it,
Yeah.
and then what are they going to do? So they're going to have to arrest somebody.
Yeah.
You never know. There's, like I said, there's always some hope. So I'm hoping. I don't want to take the attitude, oh well, they're going to get away with it like always and stuff. We never. I feel that they've been getting too cocky and they've been saying things, and my mouth dropped open when I think that, like I said, Tristan mentioned, if Nolan was on the ground and this on the boat, why would you know what I'm saying? He said it. And the two boys that were on either side of him looked at him. They had a funny look, and one of them was twitching, his thigh was shaking. And I'm thinking, he was saying too much,
Mhm.
So, but see, we don't know because, like I said, Crump and them, they may already know a lot of things we don't know. We don't know what's going to come out, when they finally go to court, when they have their day.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting because they have to keep certain things separate. They can't show everybody their cards, but you don't know what we don't, all of us don't know what they have on them. Down from even when they were transporting Nolan's body to DC. Those women said his face was burnt.
Mm.
His body was burnt, like they tried to burn him. You see, and you don't know what they did when those boys brought his body back off that boat, where he ended up. He could have been in someone's house.
Mhm.
And see, we have cannibals. Remember, that's what they did back in slavery. So you don't know what they did, because no one knows what happened to his throat or his stomach and everything else. You don't know. See, we have a lot of sickness in this world and a lot of evil in this world.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, whatever they're doing, they're keeping it under wraps. Okay, but see, Warren contradicted himself regarding his phone calls and when he called Nolan's mother, because Nolan's mother spoke up and said she gave a time frame, but she said not to quote me on it, but she was sure about when Warren called her, and that was 11:07. That was on her phone. And he first said, have you seen Nolan? And then when she said something back to him, then he admitted that he had the phone. But then when he talked on Tatum's show, he said the opposite. So he's contradicting himself, and people are picking up on all that stuff.
That's right.
And all that stuff is going to go against them in court. And like I said, what lawyer would let them, go on and say stuff like that? That's wrong. All this because people were starting to treat them differently. Some of the townspeople were starting to treat them differently. The ones that maybe have some sense, and that was bothering them. So they feel they can get on there and clear their name, that they're innocent. But they said way too much that they're showing that they're not. And
Definitely.
this is all allegedly again, So because you leave my girl Gigi alone, folks.
Yeah.
If you all are watching, someone needs to sing like a canary. Maybe you'll get a lighter sentence. You can
But
get a plea deal. If any of you kids are listening, get a plea deal. People that are scared, they saw something and fearful of their life, then you know what? There's other numbers you can get directly, call Crump or Sharpton or someone directly. Because you know what, that the original I forgot to tell you this, the original helpline, Gigi, did you know that it was connected to the judge's line?
yeah, that's what I
Now,
heard.
now, who's going to confess when you have them listening? Because they're going to talk you out of confessing. But the Black Caucus is now involved, so maybe they'll get somewhere with them too. But people don't give up. If you see anything, you know, contact the Black Caucus, contact Crump or Sharpton, or if you know Nolan's mom, send her a DM. You don't have to say who you are. Just say, call me or meet me at a coffee shop or something, and tell her. You'll do your soul some good because guess what? This is going to, whoever viewed this that has any type of a conscience or heart or soul, this is going to haunt you for the rest of your life. And the ones that are involved, you're going to pay dearly for it
That's
because you
right.
may think you got away with it, but you're going to have your day in hell. God is not going to forgive you because we are his chosen. You're not going to get away with it. Okay. You may think you're having fun now, but the day you close your eyes, God's not going to have no mercy on you.
Ooh.
And that's the truth. I know my Bible.
Yeah.
They don't realize who they're messing with. We have a very powerful God. Our Father in heaven is powerful.
That's
And see,
right.
we all know who we are now. Okay. No one can lie to us. We know who we are.
Hmm.
Okay. And that's that. Now you probably want to get some of the other wonderful people on your chat to talk. So I shouldn't hold you anymore. Okay. Was there someone there waiting? Oh, I see
Yes.
you have someone else. Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I'll wave at you. I'm gonna. I'm so sorry. See, wait, did you let me talk? Run at the mouth, and I'm so rude. If you want to talk to your other person, talk to them, and I'll let you go.
Okay,
But
Cheryl. Well,
I'll always be close by, or if I'm watching, you say Cheryl, call. I'll call in.
okay,
Okay.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
do.
You take care, and you make sure you get good rest tonight. Okay.
All right, baby.
All
Thank
right,
you.
dear.
All right. Hey, Vaughn, how are you? Vaughn, Vaughn, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me, Gigi?
Yes. Speak to me.
I'm
What?
doing well. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. I think it's a little delay. So I'm just going to allow
Okay.
you just to take over and just go ahead and talk.
Okay, perfect. So I wanted to run some things past.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
perfect. Thank you. Sorry about the delay. There were some things I wanted to run past you and just to get some perspective from you. So I was thinking about this whole case like everyone else. And one of the things that struck me as kind of odd was, with the whole passing and the death of Nolan Wells, I was wondering, like, because I think this happened on the boat, right? That's what we're all coming up with the idea that it happened on the boat. And I was trying to think of like what was the murder weapon that was used, right? So I was thinking of maybe like a fire extinguisher or an anchor or like a wooden plank, something like that, that would have been used to have struck him in the back of the head. The
Well,
other,
they
uh
they
huh,
they just said, Cheryl just said that they know karate or kung fu. So they kung fu'd his ass in the back of that head. They did a choke thing.
head. Okay. The other thing I was thinking of, and follow me on this one. Tell me what you think about this. With regards to the body being so badly decomposed, or like the how fast it was decomposing, only after being deceased for 2 days, I think that he was buried like in a plastic bag and buried on the sand on what was that place called, Horn Island. I don't think his body ever left the island. And follow me on this. If he was buried there on the island in the sand, they they went up and down the island. They didn't see anything, and I think that they would have been too afraid to take his body to one of the people's houses connected, whoever was the person that did it or persons. The reason why I think that is because the dogs can smell if his body had been there. So I think based on what the autopsy was saying, like how badly decomposed the body was so fast, I think that he was probably buried in plastic and buried in the sand there on the island.
Mm. I have to fight back on that because when you're talking about, you said he was buried, they would have saw somebody burying a black boy in that damn sand. I think it's much easier of knocking him in the back of his head and he land on a boat and transfer a body once you move out in the ocean a little bit and you far away from everybody and they're distracted on land talking amongst each other. Um, but when you're talking about the dogs, they never checked for the boat. The Triton has never been checked by the police. So we're still waiting on that. And then if they got the police in their back pocket, I'm sure they're going to bring one of their own sheriff's people to cover for them and to report back to you guys to say, we checked the boat and it's nothing there. Are you there, Vaughn? I know
Yeah,
the
I'm here. I'm sorry, you was it's on a delay, so I was listening to what you were saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for that. Yeah.
Anytime. Anytime. I appreciate you.
Sorry about that. Yeah, because this is I'm just praying just like everybody else. We need justice, and I'm praying that they find a resolution to bring the people involved with his death to trial immediately. And I pray that the social media companies be able to open up, unlock the phones, and find out what happened because this is causing me sleepless nights.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. I understand. And
Yes,
I'm just careful because I know it's such a delay, Vine.
yes.
Yeah.
No,
But I appreciate you. You got to call back and get that audio together so we won't be delayed. We'll be on a
I
call.
sure will. I will be calling back again.
I
Thank you,
appreciate you,
Gigi.
Vine. All right. All right, y'all. With that being said, I'm going to make my way out of here. Hopefully, we have more callers next time, and I'm going to stay open up the phone lines. Love you all. Stay blessed, stay prayed up, and I'll see you guys on the next live. Bye.